Whether you're a runner or a solo walker, you must keep these safety tips in mind. Change your routine and your route as often as possible. Even a small, deliberate choice to leave earlier or later than you normally do can help ensure that you're not going out into the world operating on autopilot, and helps remind you to actively scan the environment and the people within it. When you can't change your routine, raise your awareness exponentially. Routines unfortunately make us predictable both in terms of time and location. One way to help compensate for this vulnerability is to actively scan your environment and give anyone that's watching you the impression that you're going to be a bloody hard target because you're switched on and looking at your surroundings. Identifying a threat is one thing. Knowing what you're going to do with that information is something completely separate. So know in advance what your intended response is going to be if you see someone that is giving you the creeps. Actively scan for vehicles that pass you more than once. Stop ahead of your route. Suddenly circle back. Reverse in your direction. Don't go out by yourself and set personal bests. Unfortunately, PBs are a distraction in and of themselves and detract cognitively away from awareness within the environment. In addition, you always want some energy left in the tank. At the end of the day, if somebody does approach you, one of your best options is going to be to outrun the Muppet. So if you've already pushed yourself to the point where there's nothing left in the tank in terms of energy for maneuverability or sprinting away from somebody, you've left yourself even more vulnerable than necessary. So when you're by yourself, no PBs. Regardless of your route, you should always be looking at your environment with an eye to figuring out where you would escape to if something bad were to happen. Just sort of run the what if game inside your head. And if somebody pulls up right now, where would I go? If somebody pulls up right now, where would I go? You're doing this constantly along that route when you're by yourself means that you are much less likely to be caught on your heels without an escape option if something bad does happen. Identifying escape options will also help you identify areas where you're potentially more at risk. It's a choke point, for instance, where the environment closes down to such a degree that it limits your ability to be maneuverable. During and when you are in an area like that, be prepared to backtrack on a dime, run through, or start fighting for all you're worth if someone approaches and tries to trap you in a location like that. Along with choke points, be extra vigilant to areas with dead zones. And dead zones are anything within the environment you can't see through or around. Corners, trees, buildings, flights of stairs. You might see the first one, but you sure as hell can't see the second. Parked vehicles, bushes. Literally anything that obscures your vision could hide someone, and you want to identify that and be ready to move instantly if someone comes out from behind that location. Carry whatever you are legally allowed to carry in your country for self-defense. You need a force multiplier. You want something that's going to level the playing field as quickly as possible so that the predator doesn't have all of the advantages. They've already picked the time, the location, and you as a potential victim. You hit them with whatever you're allowed to carry. If you are in a country that does not allow you to carry self-defense tools, learn to fight. Learn to fight and fight dirty. And for that, I recommend anything that's in the MMA, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu field. And you want lots of stand-up along with some of hitting the ground, because if you get entangled, that's probably where it's going to end up anyway. So you want skills in both departments. But you want to learn how to throw elbows, headbutts, knees, fists, although if you hit someone in the head, you're likely to damage your hand. Open-handed strikes to soft areas. You want scratching, biting. You want anything other than a fair fight. You want to stick it to that individual as aggressively as humanly possible. And that's going to take some practice and some training, preferably under stress. So find a school that teaches you how to defend yourself under stress, not just fighting for points or something. You need to know how you're going to respond to the stress of that situation and what works for you under that type of condition. Although statistically speaking, as a runner, even out by yourself, the chances of being attacked are slim. The statistics aren't going to matter a hoot to you if you happen to be the one that's picked on that particular day. And I know it's stressful to have to think about, well, what if, because there's practically an endless list of what ifs that you could employ, but you will always be better off scanning your environment, looking for a potential threat and not finding one, than being oblivious or tuned out to what's going on around you and have a threat find you. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this: if somebody approaches you, don't be nice, okay? Be aggressive. Be mean, be whatever you need to be to deter that individual as far away from you as possible. Don't wait till they're within 6 feet. If you see someone making a beeline for you, you turn on your queen bitch of the universe face and you deliver a message that absolutely and unreservedly says, piss off, I'm not interested, and I will fight you to the death if you come any closer. You being that way isn't going to turn a guy into a murderer or a rapist. He either is or he isn't. So you do what you need to do to deter at a distance, because distance is the currency with which we pay for time to maneuver, time to respond, time to do whatever we need to survive an encounter. And the earlier you can do that, the more currency you have to play with.